Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dylan Maney, and I'm the founder and CEO of MockAI. MockAI is an educational technology company targeted at optimizing interview preparation with AI integration for students and job seekers. So let's get right into it. First, I'll go over our team. So, of course, there's me, Dylan Maney, the CEO of MockAI. My experience is primarily in business. I founded DYL Industries, which is my company, which I've had for around 4 years now. And I have a lot of experience in the accounting, consulting, hedge fund, and a lot of other business experience as well over the past number of years. My co-founder, Michael Mosquera, the CTO, unfortunately couldn't make it today, but he is a software engineer and has vast experience in website application, SaaS, and AI integration in those three components as well. Now I'll go over the problem. So ultimately, what is the problem? Interview preparation. Now, many job seekers and current college students suffer with this just from firstly my own personal experiences having or lacking those interview preparation resources has been a big strain on my time and my mental state as well as far as going into interviews. And upon doing customer interviews as well, that's something that I found with I had in common with a lot of other students as well. Ultimately, who I mentioned this earlier, but job seekers, anyone who's a recent graduate, students, and professionals looking for career changes. Now, ultimately, how does the problem affect these individuals, both financially and mentally? As I mentioned earlier, not having a job is of course a financial strain, as well as it could be a mental strain. And this could be costly for a number of reasons, and it's what MockAI ultimately wants to target. Now I'll go over the solution. So firstly, we have AI integration, which kind of ties into the lifelike interviewer here. But having that AI integration and the customizability there and having a simulated interview, which is not currently on the market right now, that's an actual, basically an actual simulation of a real interview is something that is extremely valuable from the conversations I've had and from the research I've done to college students and career seekers. And then the third component here is hyper-personalization. Having that personalization is, of course, a huge factor in the solution. Just being able to customize basically to any industry and any skill the interviewer wants or the interviewee wants to focus on while also having the ability to respond to the interviewer as the interviewee is something that's extremely invaluable as well. And where do all those three things lead? Mock AI. Mock AI really embodies these three components and ultimately will bring the ideal interview experience to anyone using the platform. Now I'll go over the total market size. So the total addressable market we found in our average transaction amount, we estimate to be $1 a month, and this will increase over time. This is just kind of a lower estimate I started out on based on metrics I'll explain later. And then we expect our customers or the total addressable market as far as college students is 18 million college students, as that's what there are in the US. Obviously, the market could be much bigger than that, as we explained globally as well. And that leads to a total market and revenue capability of 216 million a year. Now, as far as market growth, the current industry, the ed tech industry and interview preparation is going around 13 to 16% a year. And so the drivers of that are AI advancements, increased digital accessibility, and some of the additional segments we can also tackle in the future are the unsatisfied workforce and the unemployed workers as well, which will just increase our total addressable market. Now we'll go over the competition. So we do have a couple competitors here, but you can see how MockAI far outseeds them in multiple metrics here. So obviously, metrics like lifelike avatar, that's something that really no competition has in the market right now. Actionable feedback, when we include features like tone and speed and stuff like that in the feedback elements, that's something that no other platform has as well. And then as far as performance tracking, strategic dialogue, features and tools, I think something that we will excel on as well. And I'll explain more about that later. And then if you look on the left here, based on the advanced AI capabilities and features and personalization, I feel, and with MockAI's features compared to the current competition, we far exceed anyone in the current market. Now I'll go over the actual business model. Now we have a couple different business models here. And on the B2B side, the main one would be the subscription model. Ultimately, universities will pay on a monthly and yearly basis. I plan on starting this at IU, but expanding to other regional universities as well down the line. But it will be basically on a subscription basis, and it will give exclusive access to Mock AI's premium tools for students. And then the promotional aspect is, as you see in number two here, is just a variation of that. And then as far as the B2C, this is how we originally released the MockAI product in a freemium subscription-based model. Basically, the basic tier will have limitations, and then the $5 a month tier or the premium tier will unlock a bunch of advanced features that will be very beneficial to the user. We also see down the line after we get a critical mass, advertising come into play as we get advertisers and as we get users to advertise too. Um, and then we also see some per use and other transactions as well, but it's really a minor factor in the entire business model. Now I'll go over the marketing components. So first we have the channels here. So basically the primary channel is again B2B sales to universities and career services, and then strategic partnerships with edtech platforms and student organizations as well. And then the secondary channel we have is more of that B2C model that I mentioned earlier, which would be student and B2B referral programs, paid social ads as well, and also career influencer collaborations with edtech influencers and educational influencers as well. Now, as far as customer discovery, some of the work I've done and my partner has done, we've done over 40 customer interviews with multiple college students and career-seeking individuals. And then we also did two surveys as well after these interviews just to solidify our findings. And what we found is strong demand for a freemium model for individuals and a B2B strategy targeting university as well. We thought that would be the best strategy going off those interviews. And then that leads to customer acquisition, which it basically would be through two main methods, which is partnerships with universities and digital marketing to drive individual user growth as well. Now I'll go over a go-to-market strategy. So there's a lot on this slide, but basically our marketing strategy would be first insights and positioning, just having job seekers that really prefer affordable and flexible tools. We can use that strategy ultimately to position ourselves in the current market. And then as far as marketing channels, I mentioned that earlier, but that would be partnerships with universities and also paid ads as well. And then our spending and launch plan. So we would prioritize high ROI campaigns, obviously as far as social ads, and then we would do a lean budget around recruiting season when it makes more sense to advertise as well. And then we would adjust, obviously, our advertising plan and our engagement plan as well based on early user feedback and engagement. As far as the sales and distribution, we have a sales model first, which would be outbound research to universities, and inbound lead capture through content and marketing to primarily individuals. And then this will ultimately lead to a simple lead qualification process. As far as partnerships, like I mentioned a couple of times already, we have career centers and universities, edtech platforms, and co-branded events and workshops. And then as far as revenue and pricing, I mentioned this earlier as well, but we have the freemium model for individuals to drive adoption, subscription licensing for institutions, and then revenue share referral incentives for key partners as well. Now, as far as our proprietary solutions, we do have a couple of key things here that really differentiate us in the current market. The first one I mentioned earlier, which is the lifelike interviewer. Now, this is something that is not seen in the current market, and something that really can track and adapt and act like a real interviewer to college students is something that's invaluable as far as preparation goes. The second is the learning model. Having an AI model that can continuous learn based off past interviewers from all of our users, take that data, implement that in future interviewers or future interviews. That's something that's also proprietary to MockAI as well. And then the AI feedback engine. Now I mentioned this earlier, but having ultra personalized feedback based on tone, content, confidence, key metrics like that is something that's not seen in the current market right now, as most feedback is general to all users. And then, of course, having that early mover advantage with all those features that combined, with all those features combined, combining the realism, feedback, and accessibility at scale, really positions MockAI for a strong lead in the current market. Now I'll go over the capital ask. So our initial capital requirement is $20,000, in addition to a $10,000 personal allocation for myself. So that'll be a total of $20,000. $10,000 will come from myself and my partner. And basically, that distribution would be software development of 7,500, marketing and advertising of 10,000, and then any maintenance of the website that would or of the AI model would be 5,000, and then emergency fund and just some other spending as well would be 7,500. And then you can see the distribution on the left side here as well. Now I'll go over our annual projections. So essentially, in year one, we expect an adoption rate of 0.1% of the total students, aka 1 in 1,000 college students we expect to use our platform, which is really an underestimate in my opinion, but I wanted to start off relatively conservative here. And then if we expect our premium subscription, based on our estimates and based on the current market, to be 10% of users, we estimate that to be around 50 cents a month on average per user. And then we also see advertising coming into play on year 2 and 3 in specific here, being around 50 cents as well. So that would be a total of $1. That's how I get that $1 estimate earlier. And then B2B revenue, this is where we see things really picking up in year 2 and year 3, having those 3 and 8 school contracts, which we expect to have at an average population of 25,000 and an average contract size of $10,000 a month, will allow us to have that consistent revenue for MockAI and allow us to grow at really a rapid rate. And then this is just our expenses estimation, just based on some early preliminative expenses that we may have. And that's basically the breakdown there. But ultimately, by year 3, we expect to make around 2.5 million in revenue. And then in profit, we expect to make around 1.75 million. So those are where those estimates come into play there. And that's the conclusion of my presentation. I just want to thank you for listening. And yeah, I'll open the floor to any questions now. Thank you.